A scream tore through the vacuum of space, not heard but felt, an ancient kind of echo, resonating through the bones of anyone still carrying Earth in their DNA. The signal was impossible. A derelict human freighter, drifting near the dead zone of Sector 12 Beta, was transmitting in a loop. It spoke with the static-torn voice of a ghost long dead. "We bleed stars." Lieutenant Zara Akhtar sat forward in her seat aboard the Unity Vanguard, the words replaying over and over on her hollow feed. Her jaw tightened. She was calm, but something beneath her dark eyes shimmered with unease. Her fingers flew over the interface. "Is this real time?" she asked. "Verified. No time lag." "It's live," replied Kashif 9, the android co-pilot. His voice was a smooth monotone, tinged with just enough inflection to simulate humanity. Captain Reyes folded her arms behind Zara, skeptical. "Probably scavengers. Someone retrofitted an old distress signal to bait us." "No," Zara said. "That's Earthfleet can't hire or do. The encryption's archaic, used during the Battle of Rigel Prime. No one outside Legacy Command could have accessed that." Captain Reyes hesitated, chewing her lip. "You're saying this is legit?" "I'm saying it's not fake." "Fine. Plot intercept." The Unity Vanguard veered toward the signal's origin. As they drew closer, the ship emerged, an ancient Earth warfreighter, designation Nusrat, lost 3 centuries ago. Its hull was blackened and split in places, slowly rotating near a dying star. Faint, but still visible on its side, was the symbol of old Earthfleet, a clenched fist wrapped in lightning. Zara led the boarding party, her, Kashif 9, and 2 Marines. Their boots clanged inside the dead ship's airlock. No gravity. No lights. Just the endless whisper of the repeating transmission. "We bleed stars." Inside, it smelled like burnt metal and dust. The corridors were littered with signs of a brutal fight, scorch marks, claw gouges, remnants of armor half fused to the wall. Kashif 9's scanner blinked. No life signs. Trace radiation. "Central bridge is this way." They reached the bridge. It was a mausoleum. The skeletal remains of a captain sat slumped over the controls, one bony hand resting on an old notebook. Zara stepped forward and gingerly lifted it. A strange reverence filled her. The pages, faded and stained, still held legible script. "To whoever finds this, know that humanity didn't die quietly. We bled into the stars. We left pieces of ourselves in every system we touched. We made them remember." A low hum broke the silence. Consoles flickered. Lights snapped on like blinking eyes. "That's not good," said one Marine. A hologram activated in the center of the room. A young man, uniform crisp and Earthfleet standard, appeared, looking directly at them. His voice was raw with urgency. "If you're human, listen. The Alithians are hunting this ship. It contains something they fear. A genetic code, mine. It's locked in the power core. Get it to the Orion Gate. Grid 89 Aleph. You must not let them silence this." Then, the hologram collapsed into static. "Holy," the second Marine began, but the ship shook violently. "Contact!" Kashif 9 shouted. 3 sleek vessels uncloaked outside, shards of metal and glass, sharp and serpentine. Ilithians. Zara's blood went cold. "We need that core now." Kashif 9 opened a panel behind the captain's chair and accessed the ship's fusion heart. The energy was barely stable. Zara turned to signal the Marines. And the bulkhead erupted. The explosion threw her against a wall. Pain blossomed in her chest. One Marine screamed, then silence. She looked up and saw it, a Lithian, towering and skeletal, translucent skin revealing internal organs pulsing with blue light. It held the remaining Marine like a rag doll. The soldier fired, but the blasts fizzled against its armor. Zara drew her pistol and fired. The bolt connected. The Alithian shrieked, dropping the Marine, but didn't die. It hissed and moved for her. "Kashif, now," she yelled, dodging behind a console. "Launching core," the android replied. "Coordinates locked. Wormhole gate, grid 89 Aleph." Zara glanced at the notebook again. The numbers matched. It was real. Someone had planned for this. A panel opened. A small capsule shot out, aimed for space. The Elythian turned, sensing it. It lunged. Zara threw herself into its path, tackling it mid-air. They hit the deck hard. It hissed and drove a spike through her shoulder. She screamed, then slammed her gun into its side and fired at point-blank range. It vaporized with a distorted howl. She collapsed, clutching her arm, barely conscious. Kashif 9 was holding off 2 more Elythians, shielding the chute. Over comms, Rhea's voice came through, "Unity Vanguard to away team. We're inbound. Hang on." Zara coughed, tasting blood. She looked at Kashif 9. "Did it make it?" "The capsule is away." She laughed weakly. "We bleed stars, right?" Moments later, EMP bursts rocked the Nusra. The Elythians outside reeled, confused. The Unity Vanguard blinked into view, weapons hot. A tractor beam locked onto their location. Kashif 9 scooped Zara up and activated his beacon. As they dematerialized, Zara held the notebook tight against her chest. They had lost Earth, but... The capsule tumbled through the stars like a dying ember flung from the final flame of an ancient war. Inside, a sphere no larger than a child's toy pulsed with dim blue light, the encrypted core of the Nusrat, its secrets locked in layers of genetic code, keyed to one long-dead man's blood. But it wasn't alone for long. An alert chimed aboard the Unity Vanguard. Zara Akhtar stirred from the recovery pod, painkillers dulling the throb in her shoulder. "Status," she croaked. Kashif 9 stood over her, his metal frame reflecting the sterile medbay lights. "The capsule has successfully entered the wormhole path." "But..." She didn't like the pause. "But what?" "The Elythians are pursuing it. They've launched a Spectre-class hunter. Faster than anything we have." Zara sat up, groaning. "How long until it intercepts?" 9 hours. Captain Reyes appeared beside the bed, arms crossed. "We're not letting that capsule fall into enemy hands. Command's already panicking. If that core really contains a genetic key from pre-fall Earth, it's the Rosetta Stone of the old genome. And the Elythians want to erase it," Zara said. "Exactly." Kashif 9 adjusted his interface. "There is a potential solution. But it is unconventional." "Let's hear it," Reyes said. "A stealth insert into the Spectre-class vessel. We cannot outfly it, but we may be able to board it." Zara's eyebrows rose. "You want us to board a Elythian ship?" "Their cloaking systems disrupt most detection. But they are vulnerable during pursuit lock reinitialization. There will be a 3-minute window when they power cycle to confirm trajectory." "And how do we breach it without being torn apart?" Reyes asked. Kashif 9's optics flared slightly. "I have modified one of our old EVA pods." Zara chuckled, then winced. "You planned all this while I was unconscious?" "Correct. The plan was madness, but madness was often humanity's sharpest edge." 6 hours later, Zara stood in the launch bay, suited and wired into a heavily shielded drop pod. The modified EVA unit had external thrusters and an electromagnetic spike designed to pierce the Spectre-class hull. No one had ever attempted this. Over comms, Rhea's voice came through. "Final approach in 60 seconds. God help you, Lieutenant." Zara flexed her fingers, eyes narrowing. "We don't wait for gods, Captain. We bleed stars." The pod launched with bone-rattling force. Silence followed. Outside, stars streaked past as the Spectre-class ship loomed in the distance, all jagged fins and pulsating blue sinew, like something grown rather than built. "Beginning intercept," Kashif 9 reported. "Window in 45 seconds." Zara locked her gaze on the enemy vessel. This was what no simulation could prepare you for, the raw, heart-pounding terror of racing toward a ship born from nightmares. Spike ready, she murmured, glancing at the green blink on her interface. 20 seconds. The Spectre shifted, its engines glowing with an eerie pulse. Just as predicted. The lock cycle. 10 seconds. Zara gritted her teeth, the words echoing in her mind, the code is in the blood. 3, 2, 1. Kashif 9's voice counted down. The pod slammed into the enemy hull. The spike drilled through in a blaze of light. The pod latched and began burning its way inward. Warnings flared across her HUD, but the breach completed before failure. She was inside. Alien darkness swallowed her. The air was heavy with psychic residue. The Spectre's interior defied physics. Corridors pulsed like arteries. Walls shimmered. There were no doors, just membranes. Zara steadied her breath, activated internal filters, and moved. 3 objectives: reach the NAV hub, redirect the pursuit, and get out alive. She advanced cautiously, pistol drawn. The walls whispered. Not words, but fears, doubts, memories. That was the Alithian's weapon of choice. Psychological warfare. And this ship was saturated with it. A flicker overhead. She froze. Something tall and thin, like a glass mantis, skittered above. It didn't see her. She slipped into a node chamber. Orbs floated mid-air, spinning slowly. She planted Kashif 9's spoof emitter. The moment it powered up, the orbs changed color. Recalculating trajectory, said a mechanical voice. She exhaled. Then, a shriek. They'd found her. She ran. Boots pounding against alien metal flesh. Behind her, clicking limbs chased. She dodged through a tunnel into a mirrored chamber. But these weren't mirrors, they were memories. Her family. Earth burning. The illusion clawed at her mind. She screamed and fired at the ceiling. The vision shattered. She pushed forward. The NAV node was ahead. A blow slammed her sideways. A Lithian towered over her, 1,000 glowing eyes under translucent skin. It reached for her. She activated her forearm blades and slashed upward. The alien screamed. She kicked it back, threw a stun charge, and sprinted forward. At the core, she slammed in the emitter. Override. Redirect pursuit to ghost signature. Lights flashed. The fake signal launched, diverting the hunter. She turned and ran. Back through the maze. Her lungs burned. Her blood ran cold. The escape pod pinged down her scanner. She jumped. The hole sealed behind her. The pod detached. I have you, Kashif 9 said over comms. The Unity Vanguard pulled her aboard. Zara collapsed in the bay, gasping. Pursuit? Reyes demanded. Following the decoy. The capsule is safe. Zara let out a breath, bruised and aching. Good. Because I'm not doing that again. She looked down. Her blood smeared across the floor. We bleed stars, she whispered. But this time, it was a vow. The Alithians did not abandon the hunt. Even with their Spectre-class ship chasing a ghost signal across a dead system, others were already in motion. From a rift in space known only to their kind, 2 more vessels emerged, this time smaller, faster, designed not for battle, but for reclamation. They did not fire. They did not broadcast. They simply moved, like sharks drawn to blood in the water. Cold. Silent. Focused. On the Unity Vanguard, Zara stood before a secure lab module, watching the core spin slowly in suspension. It hovered above a containment plate, its dull blue pulses accelerating with each passing second. Something's waking up, she muttered, the unease curling in her stomach like a storm cloud. Kashif 9's voice came from behind. The code appears to be reacting to your presence. My blood? Your lineage, perhaps. Your DNA shares markers common with early Earth Fleet volunteers. Zara's jaw tightened, but confusion flickered behind her eyes. She reached toward the sphere, but it suddenly flared bright white, and her hand recoiled. Lines of strange symbols raced across the lab's monitors. Translation, she asked, swallowing hard. Kashif 9 processed. It's a neural archive. Encrypted. And it's choosing to interface only with you. Of course it is, she muttered, tension rising in her voice. A sound like cracking ice filled the room, followed by a voice, human, male, but ancient in tone. Zara Akhtar. Blood of Earth. You are now the steward of the final record. Zara's breath caught. Her fingers curled involuntarily. How is it talking to me? Direct neural link. Safe, but primitive, Kashif 9 replied. It's injecting partial memory packets. The room tilted. Flashes of a past not her own flooded Zara's mind, fleets burning above a blue planet, last stands on moon bases, soldiers bleeding under alien skies. The face of a man, tall and resolute, locked in a cryo chamber, whispering to himself, they must remember. Her knees buckled. She leaned against a console, breath ragged. It's all real. Everything from the war. The extinction. Even the project. What project? Reyes entered the lab, her voice tense, gaze already scanning for danger. Zara looked up, her eyes wide and shimmering. They created a seed. Not a weapon. A person. Genetically encoded with data. Memories, science, history, language. A living archive hidden among the refugees. A living archive? Reyes echoed. And it's you? Not me. But I might be the last compatible host. Suddenly, alarms blared. Kashif 9 turned to the feed. New contacts. 2 Elythian interceptors. They're jamming our long-range comms. Reyes snapped to action. Zara, get back to the bridge. We may need to run. Zara didn't move. Her eyes remained locked on the core, breathing heavy. We can't run. Not with this. Reyes paused. Then what? Zara turned slowly, her voice steady. We finished the project. We awakened the archive. The Unity Vanguard changed course, angling toward a red dwarf system with an old Earth outpost in decaying orbit, Station Halcyon. Derelict. Low power. But still there. If the archive is real, Zara said, strapping in, then Halcyon might have the last piece of the key. My blood opens the core, but the station was designed to decode it. Reyes nodded, uncertain. One mistake and the Elythians get everything. One mistake, Zara repeated softly, and they erased the truth of humanity. As they approached the station, the Elythians followed. Not firing, just watching. Waiting. A predator's patience honed across centuries. Zara, Kashif 9, and Reyes docked manually. The station's interior was worse than expected, rusted, cracked, lined with vines from hydroponic systems gone feral. A tomb of the past. But the central AI core remained. Kashif 9 interfaced. Minimal power. Archives offline. Initiating wake protocol. Zara placed her hand on a DNA pad. The sphere floated from her pack and slotted into an ancient cradle like a key returning home. Light filled the room. And then, a hologram. The same man from her visions. You have done well to come here. If you are seeing this, then Earth is gone, and our enemies still hunt what we tried to preserve. But if you carry my blood, then you carry our defiance. The walls glowed as ancient servers rumbled to life. We stored our memories in you. Our culture. Our code. This is not just history. It is resistance. The human will is not a myth. It is a weapon. Outside, the Elythians began moving. They're sending drones, Reyes warned, tension edging her voice. We need time, Zara said. Then take it, Reyes replied, weapon already drawn. Kashif 9 locked the doors. The station trembled as drones impacted the outer hull. Inside, the light from the core expanded. The room changed. Walls became windows. Zara saw a map of Earth, broken but whole. Genetic charts. Languages. Wars. Love letters. Children's drawings. It was all there. Not just data, humanity's soul. Upload complete, the AI said. Zara felt something shift inside her. A clarity. A purpose. The noise outside faded beneath the weight of everything she now carried. Reyes's voice cut through. We've got company. Zara stepped forward, holding the core like a flame. Let them come. She lifted it from the cradle. It pulsed stronger now, synced with her heart. The Alithians breached the outer corridor. Shots rang out. Sparks flew. Reyes and Kashif 9 fought fiercely, backs to the wall. But Zara walked into the light. It welcomed her. Final stage unlocked, the AI said. Zara Akhtar, you are now the archivist. Outside, the battle escalated. Inside, a new kind of fire began to burn. The fire consumed her, not with heat, but with understanding. Zara Akhtar stood at the heart of Station Halcyon, the core pulsing in her hands, threads of light flowing from it into her veins. She didn't scream. She didn't flinch. She simply accepted. The knowledge of a dead world poured into her, every heartbeat a new memory, every breath a buried truth. With it came something greater, purpose. Outside, the battle raged. Reyes took down a Lithian drone with a well-placed shot, only to duck behind a collapsed bulkhead as another exploded nearby. Kashif 9's arms sparked, shielding her from the debris. Yet, even amidst the chaos, they held the line with the quiet resolve of those who know the stakes are more than survival. Inside, Zara's body began to glow. The AI's voice echoed softly through the chamber. Synchronization complete. Activating Project Phoenix. From the walls, ancient machinery awoke. Panels unfolded. Consoles activated. Halcyon had not just been an archive. It had been a failsafe, a rebirth engine waiting for its moment. What's happening? Reyes shouted through the comms. Zara's voice came back, calm but resonant, layered with another tone beneath it, the voice of countless lives, 1,000 souls encoded in her. Halcyon was a forge. I am the flame. Above the station, power surged. Energy beams pulsed from the core into the station's ancient systems, transmitting through a network of dormant satellites hidden in the red dwarf system. Across light years, sleeping archives began to blink awake. Colonial beacons, refugee databanks, forgotten nodes, all relit like stars rekindled. Kashif 9 turned to Reyes. She's transmitting the human legacy. Everywhere. To New Damascus, to the scattered moons, to the Ark Haven. Every colony. Every refugee fleet. Zara's feet lifted from the ground, eyes closed, arms open. The station shook under renewed Alithian assault, but it no longer mattered. Humanity's soul had already slipped from their grasp. One of the Alithians breached the command deck. It stepped forward, eyeless face twitching in recognition of the energy emanating from Zara. It raised a weapon. Zara opened her eyes. The creature stopped mid-step, its weapon trembling in clawed hands. It tilted its head, the glow in its translucent skin pulsing erratically. Then it screamed, high and sharp, a sound that vibrated with more than fear. It was the scream of recognition. Of memory. Of something ancient and long buried clawing its way to the surface. Not in fear. In memory. For a fleeting moment, the Alithian saw Earth, sunsets, oceans, laughter, war, music. It saw the unbreakable will of a species it once thought insignificant. It saw the child's drawing in the archive. A mother's lullaby. A soldier's final breath. And then, it dropped its weapon, backing away in silence. Zara stepped forward. We are not gone, she said. We are not broken. And we will not be forgotten. The core's light surged one final time. Outside, the Alithian ships disengaged. One by one, they vanished into slip space. Not defeated, but changed. Their mission failed. Their understanding altered. Inside the station, silence returned. Zara slowly lowered to the floor, the glow around her fading. Reyes entered the chamber, weapon still raised, eyes wide. What the hell just happened? Kashif 9 stood beside her. A new kind of war ended. And something older began. Zara turned, exhaustion visible in every movement. She smiled faintly. It's done. Reyes stared. You're still you? I think I'm more me than I've ever been, Zara said. Kashif 9 tilted his head. Then what now, Archivist? Zara looked through the viewport at the stars beyond. They no longer seemed so distant. Now? We build. We remember. And when we return not as ghosts of war, but as guardians of memory. Weeks passed. Word of what had happened at Halcyon spread, first in whispers, then in proclamations. Across shattered colonies and drifting fleets, humans heard the call. Songs long thought lost returned. Blueprints, languages, art, medicine, memories, all restored. The Alithians, for reasons still unknown, ceased their assaults. Some believed they had seen something divine. Others thought they feared the unity of a reborn humanity. Perhaps it didn't matter. In the end, the moral was clear. The most powerful weapon humanity ever wielded wasn't its technology. It was its memory. Its stories. Its relentless hope, ***. Zara Akhtar became a symbol. A myth. But she remained something more important, a keeper. On the fractured colony of New Dawn, a child whispered her name as they painted stars on the ceiling of a shelter. On Arkhaven, a grizzled leader held a council session with her words etched on the wall behind him. We remember, across distant systems, refugees gathered around flickering screens, not to mourn, but to hope. Zara had become not just the bearer of the past, but the spark of the future. Not of machines, or of vengeance, but of truth. When a child on Far Echo Station first sketched the map of Earth from memory, it was Zara's voice they credited. When a dying elder on Arkhaven whispered the old anthem, it was because the archive had reached them. And every time Zara looked up at the stars, she remembered that truth. We bleed stars. But we do not fade, ***.